Well, we're joined today by Andrew. He recently won the Manitoba Strongest Man competition. What's interesting in all of this, though, is you really only trained for a short period leading up to this. First of all, tell us why you decided to get involved in this competition.
Yeah, so it's a little misleading. I've only been doing strongman for about 4 months. However, I have been involved in powerlifting for about a decade. So it gives you a pretty solid base to transition over. Funny enough, I have been asked to do strongman for about 8 years by a good friend of mine, Gord Grimolfsson, who's the Masters lightweight national champion. And it took about 8 years, but he finally just convinced me to give it a shot, and it's so far working out very well.
So tell us about this competition and what it entailed.
Yeah, so Manitoba Strongest Man is the only pro-am show that we have in Manitoba. We have two professional strongmen in the province, Tyler Sigurdsson and Dan Cadger. So they compete in the show. It's not necessarily in their best interest to do so, as they have a highly competitive season already. But I think it just really shows the community and the importance of winning the Manitoba's Strongest Man title. It means a lot to people. You have guys who are jumping in knowing that the weights are too heavy for them and they just want to be involved and do it. So it's a pretty special title. The competition itself consisted of with 5 events. It was max circus dumbbell, which is essentially a one-arm throw over your head with a 12-inch diameter dumbbell, kind of like the old circus strongman used to do. Yeah, it had a 800-pound yoke walk, which is you throw it across your back, and it's an apparatus where you just stand underneath it and walk with it. The car bench press, which is a lever arm, and you park a car on the end of it and you press it up and down. And an arm over arm pull, which is exactly what it sounds like. You attach a rope to a truck and pull it across the parking lot, and then finished off with a Atlas Stone run, which is what everyone thinks of when they think of strongman, is either the big log that they press overhead or the big rocks that they lift. And so it was a pretty iconic final event.
And you
Yeah,
went on to win this, which is amazing. Like you said, yeah, you had the decade of powerlifting, but 4 months of actual training for this event itself. Over those 4 months, what was that like training ahead of this and then coming out in the end winning this competition?
pretty overwhelming if I'm being honest. So I've only done so far 3 shows. I did a novice show just to dip my toe in. I did a local show down at Elsie's Hotel in Tolstoy, Manitoba, and then Manitoba Strongest Man. This weekend, I leave for Duncan, British Columbia to compete in Western Canada's Strongest Man, which has actually been the priority this whole time. I was accepted to that show back in February, and essentially my entire prep has been for that contest. So to walk into Manitoba Strongest Man, I hadn't really trained all the events because I was so focused on westerns, and I knew that that was going to be okay because our two professional athletes are also coming with us to westerns. But to walk in having gotten a little bit of experience in the implements and to win was pretty surreal. It's a points based system, so the win actually came down to the last event, and yes, I won, but it's also very exciting for the crowd when you realize that I won by a single point on a single second. So it came down right to the very last second, and it was very exciting for everyone there. There were, a lot of families out. They have it down at Rumble in the Valley at Morris Fairgrounds there, so it's a big fair environment, food trucks and excitement and music. So it was a pretty cool day.
What does this title mean to you now? You said it means a lot to people when you receive a title like this. What does it mean to you?
Honestly, it's just a representation of how welcoming the sport is. I mean, obviously, there's the alpha bravado of, oh, I'm Manitoba's Strongest Man. That's a cool thing to be able to say. But at the end of the day, in 4 months, this community, there's too many people to count and name that have been supportive and helping me and giving me technique tips and support along the way. So for someone to come in as a beginner and win this title, I say beginner again to the sport of strongman, it really does speak volumes where both the professionals that I beat were helping me in training. The showrunner, the other high level athletes we have in this province, everyone has been incredibly supportive. And even after the victory, right, I've been congratulated by the people I beat. It's a very tight knit community. And I just think that to me, it's it's the first sport I've really played where you can beat someone and they're going to be giving you hugs and congratulations right away. So it's very overwhelming. It means a lot to me, obviously, as the title, but to me, it's just really affirming the belief that I had of the community.
It sounds like an awesome community. Besides the Western Canada Strongest Man competition, anything else that you're going to get involved with moving forward now that you have this behind you?
Hard to say. The sport of strongman seems to move very rapidly. I just want to see how far I can take this, honestly. And obviously, the goal for any athlete is to compete at the highest level. So, I mean, hey, world's strongest man, whatever, right? That's the goal for anyone who wants to do their best. But for right now, I'm honestly just really enjoying the ride and kind of seeing what comes of this.
If there's someone, I know you're only a beginner, but you're awesome and you won already. If there's anyone listening out there thinking of getting involved in one of these competitions, what would you say to them?
Just do it. Honestly, you don't have to train if you have just a small background of gym knowledge, or if you know nothing. There's many gyms now. If you're south of the city, you can go see Devon at Training Grounds. If you're in the city, you can go see Tyler at Iron Age. And if you're north of the city or in the Interlake, come see us out here in Selkirk at Iron Image and we'll help you out. But the amount of it's just a fun day. Because at the end of the day, you think of other competitions, you're in a gymnasium somewhere. We're lifting out in a field with live music, with food trucks and stuff. It's just a good time. And come watch a show. I know that on July 1st, I'm out in BC, but they have Vita's Strongest down in Vita, Manitoba. It's just a big field. There's like 46 competitors. It's a good time. But if you're intimidated by it, don't be. There's people who show up and they don't complete a rep on a single event. It's just a fun thing to try. There's different weight classes, different age classes. There's a spot for anybody to compete, whether you're 15 or if you're 60. You're just going to come out and have fun. And it's pretty remarkable how supportive the community is of newcomers.